All right, good morning or good afternoon or whatever time y'all are watching this. Welcome to our stretch class. I'm so excited. I've been a little stiff from gardening and sitting on the ground and I don't know, reading books and being a little bit too still. So it's going to be nice to get stretched out. What you will need today is either a chair or a wall or a countertop to hold on to just to protect your balance, and then grab a strap or a t-shirt or a dish towel or something like that that will help us open up through our chest and through our shoulders and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and if you do have either a chair, a high back chair, or a countertop, or even a wall to press into, you can bring your hands down to the top and let's just take it back a little bit. So stepping feet back behind us and lengthening our spine. Give a little bend into the knees, a little pedal through the thighs. So you don't have to have a whole lot of weight into your arms or into your hands. The wrist should feel good. But let's just walk out the legs a little bit. Let's check in with calves, with hamstrings, knowing they might be a little more tight if you have been walking up and down the stairs a whole lot doing projects, or maybe just from general everyday activity. So a little bit one at a time, warming up the legs, kind of just checking in to see where you start to feel the stretch. And know that this is nice and healthy for your back too. We're not folding completely over, but we are keeping a L shape with the body. So try not to you don't want to come into that full fold to the toes, to the knees for some of us. But we do feel it come up the back side of the legs. And then if we can, we're going to keep the legs still for a minute. Let your chest start to float forward. You can relax the neck so you don't have to look at the screen the whole time. You can look towards the floor. And then start to feel a little bit of a stretch underneath the armpits too, underneath the arms, as you let the front of the body, the chest part of the body, sink a little bit deeper, if that feels okay. And know that we all have different ranges of motion, so check in with yours. Make sure it's something that feels good for you. Make sure you're still breathing in and breathing out. Give your muscles a little bit of oxygen to work with. Notice if you're feeling all this behind the knees. If you are, give those knees a little bit of a bend, and maybe that feels better in your hamstrings. So look up for a minute, and then bend both knees and kind of sink back again. And now we're really getting into the belly of those hamstring muscles. Good, one more little exhale. Let's walk it back up. So coming back up. Whew. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs a little bit. Ooh, feeling good and open there. Let's take both of our hands and just a little more into the chest. See if you can bring your hands behind you and then stretch the elbows straight. Start to feel the stretch come through the chest muscles. So if the fingers don't like to stay together, this is where our strap comes in nice and handy, and you know I like to hold on to the noisy side. If you have a dish towel or something like that, you don't have to worry so much about the noisy side of the strap. But this allows us to bring our hands behind us and lift them a little bit away from the back. And still starting to feel that stretch through the bicep, through the chest. And kind of counteract some of those postures we have when we're relaxed, when we're reading, we're working on puzzles, of being hunched over. So keep opening up the chest, keep stretching the arms far behind you. You can take a few more breaths. Lifting a little higher. Good. If your hands are together, it looks a little bit like this. Shoulder blades are squeezing together, and you know we like to hold our stretches for 30 seconds, sometimes a minute, depending on the muscle group. Bigger muscles sometimes need a little longer, so let's go ahead and release this one. Shake out those arms a little bit. Ooh, Feel how good the chest feels now, how good the biceps, the arms feel after that long stretch. And then we'll stay with the upper body. Let's stay with our towels or with our straps. And this one I always liked for the shoulders. So we're gonna take it maybe shoulder width, maybe a little bigger than shoulder width, and we're gonna start to feel that stretch come up. So maybe we can get all the way over our heads. Maybe we can start to feel the strap come back behind us. And so sometimes that means we need to go a little wider on the strap, but you can let the arms start to drift back. This is more into the chest area. Notice if you've arched completely into the back, or if you can pull that rib cage in a little bit and really just focus on the shoulders. So it's not a back bend as much as it is a shoulder opener. And again, this is so good if you have been kind of curled over, those of you who've been cleaning, gardening, all those fun activities. Go back a little further, even if you need to go wider on your strap. And maybe we move from our dish towel to our bath towel on this one, but long sleeve shirt, bath towel, something like that. Take it wide. And then with another inhale, let's bring it back up and over. Hold it overhead. And take a little lean over to one side. So keep tension on whatever you're holding on to. Take a side bend and then all through that side body, rib cage. And for me, it feels good to go a little bit more narrow on the strap now that it's at a comfortable distance overhead and not completely behind my back. All the way back up. Tick-tock right to the other side, so keep tension on whatever you're holding on to. And nice and easy, testing the waters at first. And then moving deeper into that good stretch. Good. Keep breathing, keep breathing. We'll get into our 30 seconds right here. And then we'll come all the way back up. Let's take one more of those big stretches overhead, lengthening our strap, starting to pull it back. Back, back, back behind us. Protect your spine by not sticking your butt out too bad. All the way back, chest open. So we find that tension on our strap or on our towels. And then we'll release. Shoulders in. You can let go, release, bring that strap, that towel, t-shirt, whatever you have, and shake it on out. Move the fingers a little bit, the wrists. So maybe we'll take a little stretch into the wrist. Fingers are going to come down. We'll get those good forearm stretches. And then the reverse on that in 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's switch. Let's go ahead and flex at the wrist. Pull the fingers back towards your arm and then give some pressure, not just on the fingertips themselves, but a little bit lower, right where the fingers meet the palm. And we'll go ahead and pull into this one too. Making sure our elbow is straight. And if you are standing, spine is tall. If your legs are tired of standing, know that you can do this from a seated position too. Look at it. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's switch. Let's do the exact same thing on the other arm. So fingers pointing down first. Go ahead and pull at the wrist, little pressure on the back side of the hand. And again, elbows straight because we do have a lot of muscles that cross over the elbow. So by bending the elbow, we let go of some of that stretch. By keeping the elbows straight, we can get all of those nice long muscles. Go Go ahead, flip-flop, fingers up to the ceiling, palm facing forward like you're giving somebody a high five. And then you can pull back, not just on the fingertips, but on really where the fingers come into the hand to feel that stretch. So you will feel a different stretch if you just do fingertips back versus if you kind of pull back with the whole palm. And you can play around knowing that sometimes one stretch feels a little different or a little better than the other. Find what works for you. Drive that bottom part of your wrist forward a little bit. Take a nice exhale to relax everything else for a little while. And then we'll release this side too. Let's wait for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Shake it all out. And the upper body should be feeling pretty good at this point. Big openness through the chest. And we'll come back to whatever you were holding on to before. So if you do have a countertop or if you're using a chair, the back of the couch. And let's come into a nice lunge. So back into the lower body a little bit. We'll start with one leg back. And know that your heel doesn't have to touch the ground. But let's again play with the leg. So let's drive the heel closer to the floor and then come up a little bit, almost like a calf pumping action. A little calf raise and lower. And so we'll start with the calf. We'll get ready, and after a couple pumps, we'll let the heel just drop towards the ground, and you'll start to feel that stretch. It'll come up the back side of your calf. It should travel from your heel up towards your knee. And so this is getting that nice long gastrocnemius muscle, lifting through the back of the thigh, back of the knee. And then sometimes this feels like a lot of pull behind the kneecap itself or on the back side of the knee. So let's see if it feels better. Take that little bend, and now we're deeper into our soleus muscle. So now we're into kind of the bulk of the calf, that deep muscle closer to the bone. Good. Feel good about that one. And I know sometimes we can do this without holding on, but it's nice to have something so you can focus solely on the stretch and not so much about your balance. We can get into that in a whole different class. So go ahead and push yourself away a little bit. Sit up nice and tall, and maybe you can feel the stretch start to come in to the front of the leg. Maybe you can push the hip bones forward, and now we feel the stretch come through the front of that quad muscle. So if you're looking at it from this angle, it's still the leg that's stretched behind you, but with that little push forward, hip flexor and quad get a little stretch here too. If you're not feeling quite enough of a stretch there, you can reach up with that same arm of your stretched back leg, reach really, really high to the ceiling. Now that doesn't mean you have to let go of your chair, so holding on to whatever you're holding on to, just start to feel that stretch. Maybe even a little bit of a side bend intensifies all the opening through that side, that front side of the thigh. And then we bring it down. Go ahead, step together, shake it all out a little bit. We all love to shake it all out. And we'll come and do the exact same thing on the other side. So nice step back. Go ahead and play with your lunge a little bit. So coming up onto the ball of the foot and then driving the heel down. Always playing with our framing on this video stuff because sometimes it's hard to see. So if you do need to come closer to the screen to see, you can always take your time coming close and then playing with it on your own on the way back. Let your heel drop down towards the floor. Remember, it doesn't have to touch the floor completely, but you do want to feel that lift through the back of the leg and the stretch traveling up through the calf. Take your good 30 seconds on this side. And then go ahead and take that little bend in, getting deeper into our soleus muscle. running up and down the stairs with something I've forgotten every 5 minutes. Yes, we feel that going. So keep holding that stretch. And then once again, let's go ahead, let's stretch the back of the thigh back. Let's stand up a little taller, moving into the front of the hip, right? So now we've got our opposite leg behind us. We're moving into that hip flexor. We're reaching up and kind of pushing the belly button, pushing the hips forward to get into the thigh. And after you see how it feels on this side, if you want to get that little bit deeper, really reaching up high with our hand and maybe even taking it over for a little bend. Keep lifting, keep pushing the belly forward, and then come on back down, bring it all together, and shake it all out. Take one big stretch with both arms to the ceiling, shoulders to our ears, open all the way up through the backbone, and then let it go. So hopefully you feel a little bit more stretched out now than you did at the beginning of your day, and we will see you soon. Bye.